First, thank you for being here. Let me speak to you directly. Healthcare doesn't have a technology shortage. It has an execution failure. Hospitals treat, doctors prescribe, insurers reimburse, governments launch programs. But between those moments, care breaks down. That's where trillions are lost. Briea is not another health app. It's a proactive AI execution infrastructure, voice-driven, WhatsApp-ready, multilingual, powered by agentic AI and generative AI, designed to operate between clinical encounters where outcomes are actually decided. And we're expanding globally. We are appointing strategic country partners, serious operators who want to own and deploy this infrastructure in their market, not resellers, long-term strategic partners. If you understand the gap in healthcare, you already understand why this matters. Let's zoom out for a second. Global healthcare spending is over $9 trillion a year, and yet chronic disease keeps rising. Mental health costs keep exploding. Adherence keeps failing. This isn't a funding issue. It's an execution issue. Care plans exist. They just don't get executed in daily life. That gap between prescription and behavior is the most expensive blind spot in global healthcare. And now, for the first time, AI is capable of fixing it. Proactive AI, voice AI, multilingual engagement, messaging infrastructure instead of app dependency. This is not another digital health cycle. This is the shift to execution infrastructure. And the markets that deploy it first win. If we strip healthcare to its fundamentals, the leakage happens in predictable places. Doctors prescribe but cannot enforce. Hospitals discharge but lose continuity. Insurers reimburse but cannot influence daily behavior. And that's not a criticism, it's structural. Healthcare institutions are not designed to follow individuals every day for 365 days a year. But chronic disease demands exactly that. So the question becomes, who owns the space between clinical interactions? Briea was built to live in that space. We are very deliberate about how we position Briea. We're not competing in the wellness app marketplace. We're not another telehealth layer. We're not an EHR competitor. We define a separate category: health execution infrastructure. Infrastructure is the key word. We're not adding noise. We're strengthening foundations. If execution becomes predictable, outcomes become predictable. That's the structural thesis. Let me highlight what truly differentiates us. First, we're proactive, the system initiates. That changes engagement dynamics immediately. Second, omnichannel architecture. We don't force behavior through a single entry point. We meet people where they already are: app, voice, WhatsApp. Third, multilingual by design, not by translation add-on. Fourth, full spectrum coverage. Health isn't siloed, so we don't build in silos. And fifth, this is critical, we don't just remind. We confirm. We follow up. We escalate. That's execution logic, not notification logic. Our AI stack is built around action, not conversation novelty. The agentic layer monitors triggers and milestones. The generative layer ensures personalization, empathy, clarity. So when a patient misses medication, the system doesn't just ping once. It follows through intelligently. It adapts tone. It escalates only when needed. This is orchestration. And importantly, it scales without adding human labor linearly. One thing we've learned: healthcare reimbursement structures differ greatly, but human behavior is remarkably consistent. Whether you're operating under value-based care in the US, public national systems in Europe, hybrid systems in Asia, or rapidly growing emerging markets, adherence drift is universal. That makes execution infrastructure globally relevant. We are not dependent on one reimbursement model. We align with them all. If engagement drops, ROI disappears. That's the brutal truth in digital health. So we architected for adoption first. WhatsApp and messaging first regions. Voice for elderly populations. App for digitally fluent users. We don't demand behavioral change in how someone interacts with technology. We adapt to their existing habits. That single decision dramatically improves retention curves. Language diversity is underestimated in digital health strategy. If someone cannot comfortably interact in their own language, adherence weakens. For government scale or enterprise scale deployments, multilingual infrastructure isn't a feature. It's market expansion leverage. This is where partners in each country gain serious penetration advantage. You're no longer limited by linguistic fragmentation. Chronic disease is where healthcare budgets are most exposed, not because treatment doesn't work, but because daily discipline breaks down. What we do is simple in concept, powerful in outcome. We enforce rhythm, medication rhythm, diagnostic rhythm, lifestyle rhythm. And when rhythm stabilizes, complications decrease. That's not marketing, that's physiology. Mental health is now front and center globally, but most systems are reactive. Someone reaches crisis before attention arrives. We embed validated screenings into continuous, stigma-free interaction. Voice makes it personal. WhatsApp makes it private. We don't replace counselors. We reduce the load before escalation. That's a very different model. If I had to identify the most financially silent gap in global healthcare, it's post-discharge. Discharge summaries are handed over. Then silence. We convert that silence into structure. 12 months of guided recovery, medication tracking, follow-up prompts, lifestyle stabilization, no expansion of payroll, no aggressive intervention, just structured continuity. And hospitals immediately see the operational logic of that. For insurers, this conversation is about risk stability. Chronic instability drives volatility. When medication adherence improves, complication rates statistically decline. When screening participation increases, acute events decline. We're not asking insurers to gamble on engagement. We're offering measurable behavioral stabilization tools. That shifts underwriting confidence. Pharma executives understand one thing clearly: persistence equals revenue stability. When therapies are discontinued early, everyone loses: patient, physician, and company. We provide compliant, structured, AI-driven therapy reinforcement. We don't touch prescribing decisions. We simply reinforce follow-through. In many markets, that is an untapped advantage. Hospitals are under staffing pressure globally. Care coordination is expensive and labor-intensive. We act as a digital extension of discharge planners. And because we're multilingual and omni-channel, outreach is inclusive. Hospitals maintain continuity without increasing headcount. That's operational leverage. Corporate leaders increasingly understand workforce health is productivity insurance. Burnout, chronic illness, and sleep dysfunction are macro risks. What they need is not another gym membership subsidy. They need ongoing reinforcement infrastructure. That's where we become compelling. Governments struggle with scale. Policies are announced. Campaigns are launched. Behavior fades. We provide execution at citizen scale without building massive new bureaucracies. Voice and WhatsApp are low-cost distribution models. For public health leaders, that's very attractive. Most digital health vendors fight for feature comparison. We don't. We position at a structural layer. Once embedded as execution infrastructure, switching costs increase. And that's an important strategic conversation for any country partner. This is where it becomes interesting for you. You're not reselling a point solution. You're introducing a new infrastructure layer. Multi-vertical entry, recurring revenue, white label flexibility. Hospitals today, insurers tomorrow, government next year. Execution infrastructure compounds. Because Briea is horizontal, growth is not linear. Each sector entry opens another. Once integrated in hospitals, insurers find value. Once embedded with insurers, corporates follow. As a national partner, you create ecosystem gravity. This is long-term platform leverage. Healthcare will not slow spending, but the systems that introduce reliable execution infrastructure will lead the next phase of digital health. We're not asking you to take a leap of faith. We're inviting you to lead a category introduction in your country. If this resonates, the next conversation is simple. How do we structure partnership in your market? Because execution at scale is the next frontier. And we believe you should own it locally.